So welcome back to another season of BSL. We're in BSL12 now. I feel like I just saw you a couple weeks ago in BSL11, didn't I, Mihai? And now we're here for
Yeah.
BSL12. You're playing in it this season, so that should be very exciting to see how far the big jip will go. And also casting.
Oh, I'm gonna bomb out. Like bombastic out.
Now you're gonna
Yeah.
bamboozle these people. You're gonna
Oh,
go
we'll
deep
see.
into the
We'll
tournament.
see.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be on Sunday, so we're gonna have a guest caster, guys. Stay tuned for that. I'm not gonna unveil any secrets though, because that's gonna be a nice, exciting moment for people. But yeah, we're already back, man. Yeah, it feels like it was yesterday, dude. We were in the studio, and now the studio went from blue to cyan. Looks pretty dope.
Yeah, it does look pretty dope. Now we're back with season 12. We've got more players, or different players this time, of course, and we have 4 players coming from Ghost League. I don't think in BSL 11 we had anybody coming from Ghost League, right?
No.
But now we've got 4 people coming from Ghost League. I'm always excited to see how far the Ghost League players will go. In particular, because kogeT got 3rd last season. He's from Ghost League, man. Who's the next kogeT, you think?
Well, we got one of them today. It's gonna be Tim.
Oh, I think someone called me Tim.
Yeah. Tim's gonna be playing today, and then but that's gonna be the group that's later. Group A is gonna be played second, but we're gonna have Group E coming up here, which is gonna be kogeT, Julia, SPX, OctZerg, and then later we're gonna have Siki, Tim, Kenzie, and Ultra. So anyway, it's gonna be a sick day today, tomorrow, Sunday. Action-packed days, 2 groups a day, best of 1. Whatever, like ASL format or group format. So kind of what everyone is used to in the round of 24. And yeah, I mean, we're going to have kogeT, Julia, SPX, OctZerg now in Group E. What do you think about this group?
Yeah, so Group E looks like a pretty good group. We've got 2 of the Terran heroes in kogeT and SPX. SPX always makes it in BSL. kogeT not only always makes it in BSL, but also goes pretty far. Then we have the return of Julia, and then return of OctZerg. We'll see how far he can go in Group E. And then, of course, Group A is probably the group I'm most excited for, because we've got Ziki down there. We've got Kenzie, the return of the 2v2 star. Then we've got Ultra, the mainstay in BSL, and a Ghost Leaguer here in Tim. Now, Group E, our first matchup is going to be kogeT versus
we're
Julia.
Going to start with SPX OctZerg, right?
Oh, SPX OctZerg. Okay, so we're going to have SPX OctZerg, and then kogeT versus Julia. I'm actually excited to see kogeT versus Julia. And you know why? Because last season, we saw Avilov kill him with Hydra Lurker. And if you played Julia on the ladder, you know that this guy loves Hydra Lurker. So I'm curious to see if actually Julia will take a quick victory over kogeT.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting prediction there, Nayakin. I'm kind of excited to watch it. It is going to be a TVZ Fiesta to start off the day, and the first map's going to be Polypoid, so very standard map. Maybe not so standard plays, but it's going to be, predicted at least by the co-caster here. But we'll have to see. Yeah, SPX versus OctZerg. I mean, OctZerg, and as I said that, I'm having a malfunction here, so I'm gonna quickly...
Green screen malfunction.
I'm gonna quickly fix this.
Yeah, so SPX versus OctZerg should also be very exciting. In the olden days, I played OctZerg quite a lot on iCup, and he was hyper aggressive. Now, I haven't played him on the ladder recently, so I'm not actually sure of his current playstyle.
We've talked about this last season. We were both talking about OctZerg's new playstyle, and you were like, oh, he's Lingman, and I was like, well, actually, he's been practicing a lot of standard play, and every time I see him play ZVT, he actually plays quite standard.
Yeah, I actually am thinking that's what I said last season also, and he did play pretty standard. But it was so few games, I can't remember exactly. You can see the records for OctZerg 0-2, not very many games played. And then SPX, of course, he has a lot of games played, actually. Let me see. He's got about 50% win rate across the board. He's got 30 games played. You can see his history here. 6-7 is at an 8. I think 8-11. He's consistently in the BSL. He's one of the best Terrans, easily. So OctZerg should have his work cut out for him. But if you make it into BSL, you're obviously a very good player. I think OctZerg got a chance here. I'm not too sure of his current level, of course, since he has such few games played.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say probably OctZerg is slightly the underdog here, just because of how established SPX is, for sure. But that being said, you know, I mean, this game could go either way. And it's a sick game to start off the BSL, honestly. I'm kind of excited to get into this. And honestly, I just think we're going to have like a nice TVZ fiesta on Polypoid. Like, it's going to be... both players play pretty standard. So, you know... I mean, SPX, I think I've seen him play mech, but, you know, most of the time he plays very, very standard and very solid. And like I said, OctZerg has been working on that style. So definitely we'll have to see here. You know, first game of the tournament is going to be stressful for both players. And it's a best one situation. You know, if any... I'd be surprised if anyone whips out something crazy.
Well, it is always a possibility. You know, if you think you're an underdog, you might as well just go for something nuts. That is always a possibility. Now, I want to talk about the maps. I'm happy that we've got Polypoid in the map pool. I'm happy to see Eclipse. But we've got the return of a couple maps that we haven't seen in a long time. Personally, my favorite one, Power Bond. What an amazing map for Terran here. You get so many bases. You don't have to move. You split the map. What an amazing map for Terran. But then we also have super old school map. We've got Blue Storm, Talcross, and then we have a new map in Blindside. I know you were playing that on stream the other day. You seem to be not the biggest fan of Blindside, but that should bring a lot of interesting play because I saw there was like so many pathways all over the place.
Oh my god, look at these new matchup statistics and stuff. So Polypoid is going to be the first map. Yeah, I mean, Blindside is an interesting map, Mike, and I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely gonna get some getting used to it, but you know, that's the challenge, right? On playing new maps is to figure them out, and especially on a map that's not in the Korean scene. It's I feel like that's something that you would like, Naokin, because it harkens back to the fossil times where there are no replays and there's no resources. You gotta kind of figure out the map on your own. I feel like you'd be a fan of that.
Well, I have not played it yet. I'm sure you've played it quite a lot since you've got some matches coming up. But
well, there's no Blindside in the round of 24, so we'll see.
Well,
but we are gonna be. We are gonna see Power Bond though, so that's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be in the winners match. But
So we are ready. Players have gotten into the game. So let's start off BSL12. We're going to be going into SPX versus OctZerg. All right. In the bottom right, our yellow Zerg. It is OctZerg.
And in the top left, in the red, Terran. It is SPX.
All right, well, let me just say this. I've been watching a couple of the foreign streams recently.
Yeah.
Obviously, Artosis is one of them. And I've seen a lot of Goliath play, actually. What do you think about Goliath play in the current meta? Is that coming back?
I don't know. I have no idea what you're talking about.
You have no idea? I've seen it quite often. I haven't seen any pros use it. What? I haven't.
Well, I've
seen
Artosis use it, but that's Artosis.
No, I've seen other players use it quite often. So I wonder if SPX will go for something like that. He does have top left, which is one of the wallable positions here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, OctZerg got the spawn that I want. I mean, I love that spawn. You know I love that spawn. You don't have to build any defense, just get away with absolute murder. Now, something that I have noticed in ASL is the return of 3-hatch. I thought when I saw players like Gameo or Hero, who love to play 3-hatch in general, that it was just going to be a one-off with them. But actually, Zero went for 3-hatch play. So I'm curious to see if OctZerg will start off with 3-hatch too.
Yeah, 3-hatch is... I mean, I'm not going to say it's making a total return, but it's definitely kind of more prevalent in the meta. And honestly, especially when you're playing against someone who's so used to playing against 2-hatch, 3-hatch can really throw off a Terran in terms of the tempo, because all of a sudden you have more Mutalisks, you have more Lings, you have a bigger eco, and you know, generally against 2-hatch, you can kind of be a bit more, like, you have to be a bit more accelerated in your build. You have to be a bit more aggressive as Terran, or a bit tighter and get turrets earlier and whatever. But sometimes you're just not ready for that 3-hatch, the slow-paced nature of it, and like the extra units that it brings with it. But looks like OctZerg is getting that gas, so this is going to be a 2-hatch. And see, we can have their first bursts and views.
Yeah, of course, we've got that slick FP view that we've come to know and love in the BSL. As you mentioned, this is a 2-hatch play. We will have to keep our eyes peeled to see if this is going to be Lurker or Muta Opener. Meanwhile, SPX over on the other side of the map, this looks very standard. I'm always watching the gas timing. It would be started right now if he was going to go for some type of delayed tech. Meanwhile, Drone is just going to push that SCV off the command center a little bit. That's getting dangerously low. He might actually get this SCV. One hit! SPX, man! Come on!
Ooh.
Oh, no. Uh-oh. We're stuck.
This is some good harassment here from OctZerg, but... Ooh.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it. It's one hit again. Oh, how did SCV win? He just jabbed him. The power of the SCV snipes him down. But you know what happened? Ling's got across the map, and I don't think SPX has noticed. There's no bunker, so actually this could be a delay onto the command center.
Oh, he definitely needs a bunker against this. That's 6 Lings running into the net. I mean, it doesn't seem like this. The thing is, if SPX has no SCVs on his ramp, these Lings might kill the 2 Marines or the 3 first Marines, and if that happens, this is going to be a completely disastrous situation for SPX. SPX clearly hasn't noticed those Lings. He does have 3 Marines. He has 1 SCV, so 2 SCVs, 3 SCVs coming in for the transfer. No bunker just yet. It is only 6 Lings, so if SPX micros this well, I think just now he notices the Lings in his natural. He's not going to bring out the Marines. He's going to wait for 2 more Marines from his racks. What's important to note is that SPX's scouting SCV died, so now he's in the dark as well. Anything could be coming as a follow-up to this attack from OctZerg, but so far SPX does push him out. He is losing a lot of mining time, though. You know, those 6 SCVs that got transferred, they got transferred back into the main. They're not mining from the natural. This SCV is going to die at the bunker. Link speed already is finished, and this is just such a bad situation for Terran because you have no idea what's coming. Is there more Links? Is there a Link flood? Now, we see that OctZerg is just playing extremely conservatively here, getting drones and playing economically, so SPX, man, he could have just died here.
Yeah, he actually got very lucky. I thought it was so funny when those 6 Lings got here. You know, SPX was thinking, like, how did those get here? Yeah. Meanwhile, the Lings didn't do that much damage. They got, like, what, 1 SCV? They forced a bunker. Meanwhile, OctZerg, he seemed to have rushed speed, but his lairs obviously completed. I think Spire is coming down in his main. No hydrogen. Wow, it's already almost done. Now, in the main, I see a big block just went down, so that's obviously the E-base. So the timing for SPX is pretty much perfect. He's going to have his turrets in time, and his build really wasn't delayed that much. He's got his academy done. He's starting his upgrades. Everything looks just fine for him. Oh, no, 36 out of 36?
Something's got to give, and no, his depot finishes. He has another depot coming in, so he's fine. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this wasn't the most ideal opener for Terran. But at the same time, Zerg did commit a decent amount of Lings for not too much damage. So, like you said, Naok, I think it is pretty even. 3 Lings coming in, though, and every SCV they kill. And the thing is, the pull off the minerals is huge because at this time, Terran wants to be putting down turrets, and that's going to delay it quite a bit. The mineral income is so important at this stage in the game, and SPX is just moving across the map with his initial group of Marines, but that's only 2 medics and a handful of Marines. So with solid Mutalisk micro, this should be dealt with, but it's only 5 Mutalisks.
Okay, the 5 Mutas, if they hold this off, OctZerg's in an amazing position. Sunken is trying to get up in time. Looks like SPX is not willing to commit. 5 Mutas will one-shot a Marine, remember that. So this is the perfect amount, and OctZerg is going to hold this. And what I noticed with that small Ling harassment was there was only like 6 SCVs in total at the natural. Now he's transferred some more. SPX's econ is really shot right now, despite only being on 3 barracks. I'm very worried for him. Meanwhile, bottom middle is already up for OctZerg.
Yeah, and OctZerg has a really nice drone count. You can see, like, when a two-hatch player kind of slowly increases his mutalisks count like this, here comes OctZerg. He is going to clean this up. Does lose, like, a decent amount of mutalisks, though, so not the best trade, but at the end of the day, like, for Zerg to clear out the initial Marine force and be able to get drones up, and there's no factory here for Terran. I mean, OctZerg is in an amazing position. This is, like, for sure a winning position. You can see uh, the supply count is pretty close. I mean, Zerg, obviously the game's not over, but this is as good as it gets at this stage of the game for Zerg.
He gets all the fire bats too. Yeah, SPX's econ is really, really in the dumps. The mutas are having a hard time dealing with one turret, though. Now it's finally going to fall down, but 3 of the mutas are heavily injured. He still only has 6 left. Now scans go off at mid, right, and bottom middle. He sees that the 3rd hatch is already up. Now, we haven't checked OctZerg's main in a while. I wonder if this is pure muta. Is this a fall? Okay, it's going to be evolution chamber, so it's actually going to be Ultraman. No hydrogen anywhere.
Yeah, and he's making a couple more drones. Gonna increase the mutalisk count here. And we'll have to see. I mean, like you said, no hydrogen just yet. The early Evo chamber is indicative of getting, playing crazy Zerg style. 3rd gas is going to go down as well. And you can see he already has a huge gas bank. So probably trying to save up gas for Ultralisks. 8 Mutalisks is not too big of a number, but it's only 1 turret defending that mineral line for SPX. So OctZerg, he is doing the damage he needs with these Mutalisks in terms of just delaying the Terran. Queen's Nest going up now. At the same time, I mean, these Mutalisks are getting inside of the mineral line. They are killing a couple of SCVs, but so much damage onto the Mutalisks, down to just 3. And honestly, Nyokin, I mean, look at Terran. Factory's done, Starport is done, almost. Suddenly, I mean, that is a lot of drones, but OctZerg has to translate this economy into something.
Yeah, this build
5 is late.
was very weird. Yeah, I'm wondering where the Queen's Nest is. There it is at the natural. So Hive's going to start pretty soon, but tank push could be pretty deadly. Wow, he has so many drones, but if you're going to have this many drones, I feel like he needs to have like a macro hatch or something, because right now, pure mutas won't stop a tank push. So I'm getting a little bit worried now for OctZerg. SPX is already moving out. This isn't that scary of an army. Again, it's only 1 group of Marine because he only has 3 barracks in total. Meanwhile, more mutalisks are being made. It looks like he only has 8 mutas. SPX might be able to deal some damage.
Yeah, but it is, like you said, only 3 racks, and finally, because OctZerg's economy is completely online, he can just switch into pure unit production here, whether it's, I mean, really, he can only make mutalisks, but if he makes mutalisks non-stop off of 3 hatcheries, he is going to have enough units to just bust the Terran push. But behind this, we know that SPX is teching up the vessels, so very soon the timing for these mutalisks is going to close, but I mean, these Marines are free if he just fights them. No medics around either. That's disastrous, because once these Marines stim, they're so susceptible to the glaive bounce damage, and you can see these mutalisks completely massacring this group of Marines. And now SPX, he's actually running more units into the slaughterhouse, because I mean, well, okay, it looks like he's going to trade well against the remaining mutalisks, but this isn't a lot of Marines.
Yeah, and it's not like those mutas had armor or weapon or anything. They just are mutas. And now Lings are going to combo with the mutas, and he should trade even more effectively as long as there's a decent amount of Lings, which it doesn't seem like he has right now. But I see that +1 armor is already done for Zerg. Ultralisk Cavern is coming up. SPX has really missed his opportunity to deal damage with these tanks. This is not going to be the greatest trade for OctZerg. It's going to be pushed back. But as you mentioned, OctZerg, he's been banking gas. So as soon as like the first 3 even ultras come out, I don't see how SPX stops it.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, SPX's SCV count is pretty healthy. The natural is a bit light, but he has made his way up to 6 racks. He does have +1 weapons and double eBay going. The big problem here for SPX is that there's no double starport, so, and really, you really need vessels against crazy Zerg. I mean, the way to deal with Ultralisks is irradiates. These 3 tanks are going to be nice, but by the time they get across the map, especially when it's cross-spawn, there's going to be so much opportunity for Zerg to just flank this push. And it doesn't even look like SPX wants to move out, and that's because his bio ball has just been reduced continuously over the mid game. Here comes OctZerg. He's going to kill the one vessel, but the rest of his trade not going to go so well. The Mutalisk Sarge is going to die. A lot of Lings also die. He does get the vessel. 3 tanks. I mean, this push from SPX has to do some damage because OctZerg is in a really good spot economically.
Well, it's starting to get a little bit scary now because of how much OctZerg is bleeding off, but I see that some gas was used, so you know a couple ultras going to be popping out. SPX, he keeps bouncing back and forth. It seems like he doesn't know whether he should attack or not, but the longer he waits, the more powerful Zerg's army is. He really can't wait. I know he's got to wait for critical mass, but ultralists are out now, and he does not have, or I don't think he's going to match the +2 timing actually of Zerg, so he's in very big trouble.
Yeah, and I mean, 4 tanks are going to be nice, but I mean, it really is going to go down to how the engagement goes. The vessel is going to go down, irradiate on top of one Ultralisk, but it's just going to run into the bio ball. There's not too many Zerg units here complementing the Ultralisk, so this is going to be a good trade for SPX. And OctZerg, I mean, he's ahead in supplies, and he actually went for speed on the Ultras first before Carapace, so a bit of a mistake there. I mean, definitely you want to get +2 Carapace first, but yeah, I don't know. It's getting pretty dicey for Zerg.
Well, +2 armor for the Ultralisk is not a quick upgrade, so actually SPX still has a timing window. You can see +1 is, or 1-1 for Terran is done. Now 1-1 for Zerg is done. That means +2 armor is going to be kicking in pretty soon, because I know OctZerg went double evolution chamber. Oh man, SPX is just sitting out in siege mode. Yeah, it looks like that was a misclick. Now he's going to continue pushing across the map. Now the Zerg army looks somewhat fearsome, but do they have the upgrades? +2 kicked in.
But he doesn't have Carapace. He doesn't have Ultra Carapace there, so these Zerg units are just going to get eradicated. I mean, these Ultras are going to melt to the Marine Fire, despite having a Carapace or an armor upgrade advantage. And OctZerg dips in supply below the Terran.
Yeah, now it's almost a 20 supply lead for Terran. There's only 3 Ultralisks left. We still don't even know if OctZerg click +2 armor because of how long it takes. You can see he's got a lot of hatches. He's got like, there it is. There's +4 armor. Now I'm curious, did +2 spike for Terran? No, not yet. So actually now's the time. Oh, there's +2. So now the upgrade advantage has been nullified. And there's only 3 Ultras now. And one of them is badly injured.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, look at OctZerg's gas count. He's just not spending it on Ultras. I think he feels really pressured to defend this, making non-stop Lings, but you just need to increase the Ultralist count. I mean, that could be 6 more Ultras here, but here comes another engagement. The thing is, Terran is not spread out, and the Marines are all bunched up. Zerglings are going to get on top of absolutely everything, and with the Carapace upgrade, these Ultras are not dying. No siege mode, no radiate. But more units coming in for Terran, and somehow SPX is trading well.
Yeah, somehow SPX ends up holding this base. Unfortunately for him, I was going to say unfortunately for him, he doesn't know about bottom left. He could go kill it. But instead, there's really not much defense at the natural or the third base. I wonder which base he's going to pick to kill. I think actually going to the third base is ideal because he'll have high ground there. But it looks like instead, he's going to go to the natural. He's got a ton of units, even has a tank, but he needs to sync up the rest of his army.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think SPX has done it. I mean,
I think he has also.
The thing with Crazy Zerg is you want to get a huge critical mass of Ultralisks. If you start bleeding Ultralisks early on and taking damage on them, it makes it so much easier for the Terran to fight. Now, another wave though, this here, the Zerg is going to break this push from Terran, but I feel like, I mean, is the damage done? He does kill the natural hatchery, but OctZerg has a base bottom left. He still has a healthy gas count. And SPX, he hasn't double expanded behind this. Only his mineral only is... It's not even finished. So, I don't know, Nayak. I mean, I feel like this game's still up in the air.
Yeah, bottom left, still up and running for OctZerg. So he's essentially on 4 gas once he gets his natural up and running again. Supplies are even again. We did see that +2 armor kicked in for SPX, so +3 weapons should be on the way. Meanwhile, Still don't know about +5 for the Ultra list. Those Ultras are going to clean up the army at mid-right. There's still a ton of gas available for OctZerg. He's got 1,200 gas. That's 6 Ultras that he could be building within the next couple of minutes or so. Mineral Only is finally going to complete for SPX. His main is completely run out, so even though he's on 3 bases, it's still just going to be 2 base mining. He really needs to start thinking about taking top middle. And now, I guess, OctZerg smells blood because he's starting to attack with a excessive amount of Ultras. Here he comes.
Oh my god, this is a huge engagement from OctZerg. He has so many Ultras, he gets around all these units and just doesn't seem like SPX has enough units here. OctZerg is going to smash the Terran position. He's going to break this base. And remember, I mean, SPX is basically mined out at his at his main. So, you know, after that big back and forth, and despite the fact that SPX broke OctZerg's natural, the expansions from Terran weren't quite there in time. And now, I mean, it looks like OctZerg has done it. The Terran supply is plummeting down to 40.
Yeah, this game is over. OctZerg, he's going to take game 1 of BSL12, and he's going to be into the winner's bracket with a very nice Ling Ultra play. And SPX just never hit critical mass, it seemed like. He traded not too effectively, but also I was a bit worried with OctZerg because when I saw speed come in for the Ultras, I was like, no, you're going to throw away all these Ultras and just lose your 3rd base. But luckily, he was able to get up that upgrade and take the game.
Yeah, I mean, that was, to be honest though, Zerg was like in a commanding position the entire game. It was almost surprising that he almost lost that game. SPX, I feel like he was just so indecisive with the tanks, but really just from the first 6 lings that were causing mineral disruptions off the natural, then the 3 lings after that, then losing the first group of bio, not really putting on any pressure, and then the Mutalisk. I mean, he was on the back foot the whole game, and you could see like the stress in his play, like, oh, the tanks and vessels are out on the map, should I go, should I not go? But he nearly pulled it back.
Yeah, after so many Ultras were bled off, it really looked like SPX had a chance there, but too much econ for OctZerg. Even though it got ugly at one point, he had all those hatches. He was able to produce not just Lings out of the 3rd base. Ultras came from there, and he was just able to flank it, and it's just too much at that point. 4-base Zerg versus a Terran that doesn't even have their 3rd base mineral only. I mean, it's almost impossible, right? And his 4th base was running for a long time. So OctZerg, he takes a nice win there. He's going to be waiting in the winner's match. And now we're going to be going into kogeT versus Julia. But before we go into that, I think we're going to take a quick break. Oh, we're not going to take a break. So we're just going to wait.
We're going straight in there.
Yeah. We got the battle of the Polish.
We're gladiators.
Are we?
Gladiator casters, yeah.
Yeah.
Just pushing through.
Well, since it is best of 1, it should be pretty quick. You know, before this series started, I was like, oh man, this is going to be long because it's 2 groups. But best of 1 format, you know, I don't think it's going to be that long, actually, especially if we avoid TVTs.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, thinking about this, I mean, no, I'm not going to even say it. kogeT versus Julia, it is going to be the next match here. Avoiding TVTs, I mean, why would you want to avoid TVTs now? Because I want to see TVTs.
Well, if you guys want to watch a crazy TVT, you should check Artosa's stream from earlier today. That was wild. I bet all my salt. I bet all 150K because I'm a believer, baby. Yeah. And your guy over on the other side here, the big chip, he's not a believer, and he lost all his money. I enjoyed taking it. What do you think I should spend it on? I should redeem all that salt I won for guy in the chat ×5.
Yeah, probably, dude. I'm still so angry about that. That guy he was playing was such a potato.
Yeah, but that was a wild game. Super wild. Oh my god, yeah. I highly recommend it. It's a polypoid game. It's like, well, I'm not going to spoil it. Definitely check it out though. Amazing game. But yeah, I am very curious for kogeT versus Julia because, as I mentioned last season, Avilov did way better than a lot of people were expecting, and he crushed kogeT with the Hydra Lurker play. And I played Julia a long time ago in BSL6, and he just goes Hydra every game, man. So I'm curious to see if he'll have success like Avilov did.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Julia, aka Blackman PL, a legend Twitch streamer. Always streaming every day. He's always playing. He's a god, man. He's a funny guy. I actually kind of enjoy Julia quite a bit. He has a nice personality there, a bit polarizing for many people, but you know, entertaining to say the least. kogeT, of course, also staple of the non-Korean scene, has been streaming for a long time. I think he has a Discord and like a YouTube now where he posts educational content. So definitely really cool to see that from top players such as himself. And yeah, I mean, without a doubt, kogeT versus Julia. I mean, kogeT's got to be the favorite here, right?
You would imagine he has to be. kogeT always goes very far in BSL. You can see, like, just from the past couple seasons, his worst finish is what? 8th? So, I mean, he always goes past the round of 16. The real question is, you know, does he get a good bracket to make it all the way to the finals, I guess. So, in the last couple seasons, not able to do so, but always gets pretty far. Meanwhile, Julia, you can see, he makes it into BSL somewhat consistently, but kind of a round of 24 or a round of 16 players, so it's going to be pretty hard for him. His statistics are pretty even, it looks like. He's got 50% almost across the board. Meanwhile, kogeT, he's got almost 60% across the board, a little lacking in versus Protoss, but I mean, it's expected in BSL because when you face a Protoss in BSL, it's what, like 1 of 3 people? It's DeWalt, Bonneth, or Oyachi, so of course your win rate is going to be pretty low versus Protoss.
Yeah, that's very true. And you know, versus Zerg, rather, he's always had really, really good results. But Julia kind of quietly has always been very relevant in BSL, you know, making a lot of the BSLs and doing decently just generally. So, you know, I mean, especially after Avilov's solid performance last season, definitely, you know, I would say kogeT not necessarily a shoe-in here. Because clearly the European Zergs, some of these European Zergs can be extremely scary, especially if they play that type of Hydralisk style, but we'll have to see. I mean, Polypoid is going to be the map here. Once again, we are going to get into the game. kogeT versus Julia.
Okay, in the top right, one of the best Terran players in the BSL. It is kogeT.
And in the top left, in the blue Zerg, it is Julia, aka Blackman.
Well, something I don't even think we mentioned at all is that both players are from Poland. So you know that they have played quite often, and you know that kogeT is aware that Blackman obviously plays a lot of Hydra play. So we'll see if there's any type of mind games going on. You know, it would be very shocking to me if we see Wraith, because I feel like kogeT's just going to get blind countered by Julia here often, but I mean, I guess he could. This is not a position that I would expect him to do at top right of Polypoid. Can't wall, has kind of a huge, you know, entryway into the natural, but we know kogeT loves the race, so I guess it is possible. Now look at this. Julia not scouting first, of course he's going vertically, so hopefully he sends his drone to top right and is able to find kogeT quite quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, I highly doubt on these positions kogeT will go for Wraiths. Like you said, there's no wall at the natural, there's no wall at the ramp either. kogeT already building his first depot next to his command center, so definitely it is. Well, I mean, last season we saw kogeT go for some what's it called? Goliath bio type compositions. What's it called?
How does like called Golanic?
Yeah, Golanic or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if he. I don't think he's gonna whip it out against Julia here, but that is something to think about. Julia going for that 12th hatch, so incredibly standard so far from both players.
Yeah, we don't see gas in the main for kogeT, so it's not going to be any type of tech play, at least not just yet. As people know, delayed tech is somewhat common these days, especially the Valkyrie opener. It's pretty much the build that I play exclusively because it's just so devastating to me to play. Now the drone comes in here, he's going to gas steal, but actually I think this is kind of a waste of the drone because kogeT's not really the one to go for a delayed type of tech play. He would have already chosen that by now if he was going to go for tech. Meanwhile, we see that a gas going down for Julia, so it's not 3 hatch play. And this kind of means that he's going to go into, obviously, 2-hatch Muta, which I find a little bit surprising because I really thought that he's more of an eco-hydra-based type of player.
I mean, Julia he has been playing a lot, and he plays ladder a lot, so I'm not surprised that he's playing more meta builds. But here the gas deal is interesting, to say the least. It's not too bad, really, to do this as Zerg, because at least you're making sure that Terran is playing a 2-Rax type of build, so maybe that's what's behind Julia's decision making. But obviously that's just gonna set Zerg back just a tiny bit, because that is 50 minerals down the drain. But it is it is decent scouting info, because now as Zerg, okay, this can't be a gas build, so it can't be an eBay build, it can't be a factory build, it's gonna be a 2-Rax build.
Yeah, it is nice, especially versus kogeT, who has a whole variety of builds he can play. Now we do see that the gas has started, so he's going to be getting his upgrades pretty quickly. Overlord got into a sweet spot over the ledge, so he'll be able to see... I think it will be able to catch the Marines as they move out. I'm trying to look at the minimap. There's actually not a lot of vision on the bottom side, but 3 Marines have gotten across, and I think that they're actually all going to die here.
Yeah. Absolutely smack there, and that's going to be really nice for Zerg, obviously, because didn't need to make more drones. And now again, Terran is totally in the dark. Okay, never mind, kogeT does
nice.
sneak in an SCV, but Julia does block it with the drone, so that's good. A lot of links popping out. kogeT, of course, knows he needs to get a bunker. That bunker can be susceptible. It is a bit out in the open, so if Julia decides to go for a link flood here, he might be able to kill Terran, but at the same time, the layer is already done, so Spire's going to be going up. This second gas a bit early. You can see he can't even mine from it.
He spots the Lings with a scouting SCV, and still Julia's going to go for it. Look at the drill from kogeT into the main. That's perfect. And he's going to lose only just a little bit of his SCVs there. Only 1 dying so far, maybe 2. But this was really amazing play from kogeT to instantly react to that. Julia's in big time trouble because, remember, he lost 3 Lings in the center of the map, I think. Now he built 9 more. So this is going to be, potentially 4 extra drones that could have been built. Ling is going to get into main scout. That ComSat has just now started. eBay, I don't see anywhere. There it is. It just started. Now maybe Julia can abuse this, because generally you want to get your eBay around 5 minutes. It's only it's at 5:15 now. So that could be a little nerve-wracking for kogeT. Meanwhile, that Ling did kill an SCV, so that's a bit annoying.
Oh man, and this is so terrible for Zerg, because he's forced into making these sunkens due to losing all those links. kogeT knows he can just push out with the medic timing and the stim timing, so even if this doesn't outright kill Zerg, which it might, I mean, it's only 2 sunks, they do finish. And, obviously at this point, you don't necessarily need to go in as Terran. Just forcing these 2 sunks right before the Mutalisk timing is a huge, huge, huge win. And kogeT realizes this, just pulls back, and all of a sudden, I mean, Julia was in such a good spot after killing those initial 3 Marines, but making all those Lings and just running them by and getting absolutely no damage was disastrous for him. And now, he's going to have to play catch-up. He's making a lot of Mutalisks, so again, 2 sunks, a bunch of Mutalisks. That means his drone count is significantly lower than it should be, and there's no 3rd base. So now, looking at Julia, I'm thinking, does he just pull the trigger and go all in off of 2-hatch?
Well, I think that's kind of his only option, because his econ is so bad. He has to do devastating amount of damage with these mutas if he wants to try and transition out of this. You can see that kogeT even has a couple units out on the map to try and scout for potential 3rd bases. Of course, we see that that's not going to happen anytime soon, because Julia's econ is so shattered. Mutas may find a couple of straggler Marines, but instead they back off, and kogeT is getting away with it. He's actually powering very hard. His factory's already done. Starport has started, so he's going to have a nice tank vessel timing, and Julia's only going to have pure mutas. I mean, look how little drones he has at the natural. It's like 3 mining minerals.
I feel like he even made it around drones, because usually when Zerg goes all in off of these 2 hatcheries here, there's literally maybe 2 drones mining minerals at the natural. So because I think you need like 5 drones per hatchery production to make Mutalisks nonstop. So 9 in the main, 2 at the natural sounds about right, plus the gas, but already he has a decent amount of drones at the natural, so that's delaying his Mutalisk count, and you can see that only now does he get 11 Mutalisks, but there's a bunch of turrets all over the place, and Starport's already done, so looks like Julia is going to try and take a third base here, but even a second Starport coming up for kogeT.
Yeah, so actually not going to be a tank push. Instead, he is just going to go into standard 2-port follow-up. Now, that is very gas heavy, and at the natural, he doesn't have his gas up and running, so I think that's a little bit of a mistake there. Meanwhile,
for Valkyries.
Valkyries? I don't see a...
I think I think it's at the natural, the armory.
Oh, the armory is there. Yeah, so actually this is going to be Valkyries, as you said. Now, meanwhile, Julia's taking top middle. Now, that base is not going to get scouted.
Yeah, it's not going to get scouted, but I mean, dude, this is such a bad spot to be in as Zerg, and, well, at least, you know, Julia, though, he is playing really well. I mean, the natural is totally saturated. He has a Hydra Den out already, so probably researching lurkers before the Valkyries are even in production. So, you know, these Valkyries are going to completely stuff the Mutalisk harassment, but if you have lurkers in time to defend your third base and your natural, it's not too bad for Zerg.
Yeah, and we don't know if Julia's actually upgrading his mutas. If he gets +1 armor, all of a sudden these Valkyries just...
Oh, he does.
There it does. It just kicks in. So this Valkyrie play, I think, was a bit of a mistake from kogeT. I mean, he was at such a massive advantage. I don't really necessarily think he can make a big mistake, but this definitely didn't help him at all. Vessels would have been the better follow-up. You can see he's kind of confused at what's going on. It's like, dude, you don't have a base anywhere? You don't have bottom left?
Yeah.
Scan your main, you have lurkers? What are you doing? Are you just all-inning me?
Well, this timing from Terran is going to be extremely scary, though. The Valkyrie does finish. Carapace is going to help quite a bit. You can see that even one volley on top of all... Oh, the Valkyrie's just going to get killed, though! That's a huge mistake! Is it going to go down? No, because actually Valkyries are incredibly tanky. I think they have, like, what, 2 plating, 2 armor? Yeah, it's just insane how they don't die, but really close there. The thing is, kogeT is going to need to wait for another Valkyrie here before they actually start doing a lot of damage. And, I mean, Julia is making a couple of Scourge. It doesn't look like he has any Hydras.
Yeah, I haven't seen a single lurker being morphed the entire time. It looks like this might actually be greater Spire play. And, I mean, I don't even necessarily think this is a bad move because you're going to be taking so little damage from the Marines because you already have armor. Okay, wow. Top middle does get scanned, and this is a crucial timing for kogeT because if the greater Spire finishes and there's even just a couple Guardians, if there's Muta support, how do you actually get on top of them?
I don't know, but honestly, this is scary, though, because Julia has so many Mutalisks, and that's not really enough bio just yet, and Julia's just gonna go for it on top of all the bio. There's not enough Terran here to stop this. I mean, the Lings are gonna get on top of the Marines as well in conjunction with the Mutalisks that are gonna completely shrek this Terran ball. And now, I mean, kogeT, because he went for kind of like the in-between, do I go Valkyries, Vessels, or whatever, I mean, he's just set back.
Well, Julia has somehow made an amazing recovery in this game. I really didn't think kogeT could do anything.
The Greater Spire got scanned, though.
Yeah, it did get scanned, so he knows what's coming. But he has double Starport. I see he already has a Vessel. A couple more should be coming out pretty soon. kogeT's got a good SCV count. He doesn't need to build anymore. It's not like his econ is shot at all. So he's going to be putting down 7 barracks, or he's going up to 6 right now. Meanwhile, I did notice that he has +1 weapon already done. There's a great Irradiate.
Man, so maybe this is what the Hydra Den was originally for. He's actually gonna... I mean, at this point, if you're going Greater Spire... Oh, second Irradiate is gonna do so much damage on top of the Mutalisk, and it's in the deep end! Oh my god, that could have been so much worse for Julia. Now, luckily for Zerg, when you morph these units into Guardians or Devourers, they do recover their HP, but it's right out in front of Terran's
And he
base.
scans it. He scans it instantly. Oh my gosh, this was way too greedy. And there's the Hydras that I was talking about. So it was going to be Hydra Guardian. Yeah, Julia realizes that there's no way he's going to be able to hold this, so he backs off. Hydras don't have any upgrades, so this is not like +1 armor, +1 weapon. Like, they are super weak. Really, all Julia... He's still not over the ledge, man.
Well, this is disastrous for Zerg now because, look, the vessel count is up, and it looks like Zerg just doesn't have enough units really for, vessels aren't always the best option against Guardians, but when you have this much space, when the Zerg is not morphing their Guardians outside of your natural, when there's not critical massive Hydralisks, these vessels are going to do work against the Guardians. Hydralisks are holding the ground here, so I think this third base is going to be defended. That's a lot of Guardians though, but I feel like if kogeT has 4 radiates to work with here, plus he has the 7 racks at home, oh my god, this is going to be a disaster for Zerg.
Yeah, they already took a ton of damage, and 4 radiates onto 4 out of the 10 Guardians. 6 remain though, but as we stated, kogeT has a lot of barracks, but remember, these Guardians already have armor. They're going to take so little damage. That might even be a 5th radiate. There it is. Now he's going to engage the Guardians. Is there enough? Oh, wow, there's just way too many Marines, and all these Guardians are going to die. Look at supply, 110 to just 50, and kogeT on the brink of taking this game versus Julia.
Yeah, that was, honestly, that was so close. This game was so close. But Julia kind of just... That one irradiate kind of did him in. That caught all the Mutalisks. Then he felt really pressured to just morph them outside of kogeT's main. But kogeT does stabilize, and now with this Vessel Cloud, doesn't matter what Zerg does. The game is totally over. I mean, it's really unlikely for Zerg to stage any comeback at this point. kogeT is going to stim up into this 12 o'clock. These Marines are going to make short work of the Hydra Guardian force here, and... yeah, I mean, I expect to see a GG anytime soon now.
Yeah, there's just way too much Terran and too little Zerg. The micro from the Guardians is not bad, but there's 6 vessels now. There's the GG. So kogeT, he's going to take our match in our second series of the day, and that's going to set up an OctZerg versus kogeT finals.
Yeah, winners match.
Yeah, winners match.
Yeah, we're only halfway through the group now. Can't forget that. But yeah, that was a sick game. I mean, honestly, it looked kind of scary for kogeT at certain points there, despite having a huge early lead. So, up against OctZerg, that is going to be an interesting matchup. I still don't know. I mean, kogeT is going to be favored, but definitely looking a bit vulnerable after that game versus Julia, I would say. Are we gonna go straight into the game though, or are we gonna take a break? Okay, so we're gonna go into the winners game soon.
Yeah, so we got kogeT versus OctZerg coming up. I am a bit worried for OctZerg, obviously, because kogeT is clearly the favorite in this group. But as you mentioned, kogeT, there were moments for Julia to take advantage of him, but he was super strong. But what I'm mostly worried about is based on what we saw in OctZerg versus SPX. OctZerg had a massive lead and then kind of threw away a lot of ultras. And if you do that versus kogeT, he will just go and kill you. And OctZerg is going to have to be a little bit more careful in that series. But of course, he's got a good chance. But we're going to be going into my favorite map, which is Power Bond. Now, what are your thoughts on Power Bond?
I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty cool map, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. It's not too bad. I feel like it's just a way better Reap the Storm.
Yes.
Like it's kind of the same map, but just significantly better. For TVZ, I feel like it's actually quite a solid Zerg map because there's a lot of bases that are really far apart, and there's they're all like those high ground expansions that Zerg can kind of hold on to quite a bit. But at the same time, like mech can be really strong on that map. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something like that from kogeT.
Yeah, I think the last time we saw Power Bond was at RCG, where there was that like tiebreaker between Terror and OctZerg.
Yeah,
and somebody else, and OctZerg just could not win a game for his life versus mech. It just didn't happen. So I think there's a real shot that we're going to see mech play here, especially with someone like kogeT, who in the past loved to play mech, the 5 factory Goliath play. He can definitely pull it out in a map like Power Bond, where literally you don't have to move and you have 4 bases that all have gases. That's a very, very strong strategy to go for on this particular map. Now, I'm trying to think back to what did I face mostly on Power Bond. There wasn't really anything that comes to mind in particular that Zerg did. They kind of just played normal.
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. I actually was just not listening to you at all.
I know, that's typical. You never do. I've come to accept that now. Now, something to point out about Power Bond is it is a 3-player map and it is open. It does have the features like Tau Cross where drops are very strong. You gotta have Scourge everywhere because of all the drop paths. Now that I'm thinking about it, I have been lurker dropped on that map a couple times. I don't think OctZerg is gonna do that, but I guess it could be a possibility. But finally, OctZerg, he got a win in his BSL history, so he should be feeling pretty good about that. Now he's just 1-2. Of course, he doesn't have many games played. But yeah, I think that this should be a good map for kogeT if he ends up going for the mech play. That's
not Power Bond.
That is not Power Bond. I know that for a fact. I was looking at that and I'm like, am I crazy? Am I crazy? That is not Power Bond. That is Blindside. That is going to be the new map. Custom made by Minerals, right? He's like
Mr. Minerals. Mr. Minerals.
My bad, Mr. Minerals, well-known map maker. We are ready though, so let's get into Power Bond. Find out who is gonna make it out of Group E with a 2-0 victory. Is it kogeT or is it OctZerg? All right. Well, we're already magically in there. And the left side of the map, we have our Polish Terran. It is kogeT.
And in the top right side of the map, the Macedonian Zerg, it is OctZerg.
And I'm trying to think about what position I like the most as a Terran player.
Oh, please. We always get this every start
left.
of the game.
It's got the wall. You got it. When you got the wall.
The wall.
Gotta go for the wall.
I agree, though. On that position, especially, the wall is going to be really, really solid. I think top right is probably the only...
build the wall, man. Make OctZerg pay for it.
Yeah. Well, honestly, you know what's interesting about TVZ is I feel like people have figured out that you don't necessarily need a link-tied wall. Like, you just need, especially on a map like, Eclipse, the walling is standard. And none of the walls are link tied. They just have the one hex in there. And I think you can defend against 4-pool if you execute right, even with a wall. So kogeT, though, is going to go for the in-base wall, the ramp wall. And this is screaming 2-port to me.
Yeah, this is screaming 2-port to me also. I'm kind of confused why you wouldn't just wall your entrance. But, I mean, maybe I'm misremembering. Maybe you can't go for a link tight wall. But anyways, this was cut econ for this, by the way. I think this was an 11 gas. Oh, we don't want to do that. Okay.
Oh man, that would be so funny actually. But I'm pretty sure we have the players as FP view, but probably they would just be like, oh, what happened? Should we leave? Actually, OctZerg is going to open with a 9-pool speed, right?
Yeah,
so,
and this...
Oh, no. Oh!
Whoa, what?
Spicy. That's going to be a 1-hatch lurker build. And honestly, it's not too good versus 2-port. 2-port is one of the best builds at dealing with these wacky Zerg builds because you get this wall here. And then, I mean, guess what, Nyokin? Lurkers don't hit air.
I was just about to ask that. Mihai, why are lurkers so bad versus race? And there's your answer, because they flat out don't hit air. But I have to say, once lurkers are burrowed under land, they are pretty hard to hit, right?
Yeah.
What's that comment on Team Liquid? Like, lurkers under land are hard to play against. I can't remember. It's such a.
I have no idea.
You have no idea what
you're
I'm talking
referencing.
about. Somebody in the chat knows what I'm referencing, though. Meanwhile, Lings are out. Oh, that is a tight wall. So denied. Not gonna get in.
Well, I mean, if I'm OctZerg, I know exactly what's what's coming here. Oh, okay. What?
Yeah, 1-hatch Spire, baby.
You think this is something that he's been concocting up in the Macedonian lab, StarCraft lab? He's like, well, I know kogeT goes for the... I actually am curious. No, because the thing is, those Lings got there like the lair was already halfway done, right? Before the Lings got to scout the wall, I feel like. So most likely this was a premeditated one hatch spire build. You know what's nice about this though is that Cloak's not going to be done.
Whoa, yeah, and I think he's only gonna have one. Oh, I'm shocked that he went for 2 port. Oh, actually, no.
No, this is how you do it.
Yeah, this is standard. You go 2 port, you go 2 wraith first, then you get the add-on because you want to be killing drones and overlords ASAP. But my question is will Mutalisk be on time? I guess the Spire should be close to finishing, maybe around 500. Yeah, 500. So I think Mutalisk actually should be out.
Yeah, this is good. This is actually the problem, obviously, for Zerg is that it's one hatchery production. So what I'm thinking here is, I mean, if kogeT doesn't get there's no way he doesn't get a second an add-on.
You know what? I'm just realizing he didn't scout the whole game, so he's gonna send 1 wraith to each base, and he might actually catch this overlord and then be shocked that Mutalisks are already out.
Oh yeah, the thing is, if he wastes time on this overlord, the Mutalisk can get in range to kill the wraith. But the problem is, 1 hatchery is so limiting. I mean, this overlord goes down, the next 2 larvae. Oh, he just went Scourge. What?
Okay, but kogeT has some of the best wraith control. I think if you're gonna do this, you kind of just have to go hard on the mutas. But we'll see if he can find a connection.
Nah, this.
Oh, he built a bunker. Man.
Yeah. There's already 3 wraiths out. I mean, it's gonna be really close. This is so crazy. The second bunker is really clutch here from kogeT, and it doesn't look like OctZerg. Yeah, kogeT just knows how to deal with this actually, and we'll have to see. Yeah, I mean that's it. Because the thing is, losing that overlord, the next 2 larvae, he has to make double overlord from it, and now I mean Zerg's economy is in the dumpster.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah, that's it.
I think kind of a slick play, but it's backfired. And this is just going to be kogeT getting critical mass wraith versus a Zerg that just now got their nat up, but doesn't even have drones running at the natural. So he's got no econ. He did no damage to the wraith. You know what's funny about the bunker in the main? kogeT couldn't even get a marine in there because he has a complete wall with the marines popping out on the wrong side.
Yeah, but it's a good move nonetheless because, you know, whatever. I mean, that bunker makes so much sense. The thing is, I wonder, even without the bunker, it looks like this 2 port just holds 1 hatch spire. So anyway, I don't know, OctZerg, if this was a really cool idea though, I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know if he actually, I wonder how his test games went, because it just seems like it doesn't work.
Well, yeah, usually if you're pulling out a build like this, it means that you had success in practice games. I don't think you could have gotten really a better opener because kogeT didn't scout the whole game, man. Like, it went unscouted. What exactly are you hoping for?
Yeah, he actually skipped the vulture too, which...
Yeah, which,
you know... that was scary. I almost sneezed on stream, and you don't want that, but... he didn't even go for the vulture scout, which I guess makes sense because there's already 9, or there's a bunch of lings out anyway from the pool first, so it made sense actually how kogeT dealt with this. But now Cloak is done. Oh, if the Scourge connect though, this is almost playing with fire because honestly, a couple Scourge connect the Mutaglaves, and that could completely reset kogeT's advantage. But still, I mean, Terran is in a really strong position here. No command center just yet. He is just going to go 1 base, triple rack. Well, for now 2 racks, but it is going to be a 3rd rack soon. Bio follow-up.
Well, first couple turrets are being built. kogeT has like 10 wraiths, so he's going to be decimating this immutable when it comes in. Oh, wow, these mutas are so far forward with no vision at all. Meanwhile, it does deny the turret. Overlord does now come in, and this is going to give OctZerg the vision he needs. That's great muta control, but it's also great wraith control. Now Marines are still not in the bunker, but look at how fast those Mutalisks end up dying. Goodbye. And that's going to be a GG any moment now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there is no recovery. He's supply blocked.
Surprised OctZerg just sat there and fought that. Like, maybe he misread the amount of wraiths there were, but yeah, definitely. I mean, it's donezo now because kogeT can just keep making wraiths off of Tutor, that's going to put a lot of pressure onto the the Zerg player to continuously make Mutalisks to not die to the wraiths. But then Marines are going to come, and Zerg just doesn't have the production to deal with that, to make Sunkens or to make any other kinds of units. kogeT is also taking his expansion here. I mean, Terran is just so far ahead. But
this is about the best trade that Mutas are going to get. He catches the Wraiths, but look at the control from the Wraiths. The Wraiths are firing and the Mutas are not firing.
Yeah, well, looks like, I mean, even with that control.
Serious? I think he's going to kill all these Mutas.
Oh
my
god. Mutas are so off. Oh, but he is going to... Yeah, well... I mean, Terran is up double supply here.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's really any hope for OctZerg kogeT. He's also taking his natural, so he's going to have an influx of econ pretty soon. He's already got 3 racks production. He's got Marine Medic coming out. kogeT also sniped 3 drones in the main, so the econ is really, really bad again. And +1 weapon is done for these Mutalisks, but... that really isn't going to help him too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not...
Yeah, it's just done. There's too much. Wraiths, even if they get shut down and you can't do any damage with them, you just leave them in front of your Marine Medic. They soak up so many hits. They've got so much health that they're still very useful. They've got 120 health, so they soak up 12 muta shots. It's crazy how tanky they are. And the Marines just deal all the damage. So as soon as critical mass happens, kogeT's literally just going to walk across the map, and there's nothing OctZerg can do. He's trying to get some Marine kills outside of the natural, but he can't really engage that either.
That is 1-1 Mutalisks, though, and Terran upgrades are not quite up. It's kind of interesting kogeT decided to go for the command center despite committing to the racks before expanding. Usually if you commit to the racks before expanding, you're going to do a timing attack with the Bio Wraith. And I feel like that would have just ended the game, but it doesn't really matter what Terran does after what happened in the early game. And now it looks like kogeT has had enough. He's just going to go for the killing move, and 2 hatchery here from OctZerg is not going to cut it. I mean, the upgrades are quite good on the Mutalisks, but 1 control group and a half of Bio plus the Wraiths are going to be more than enough, I feel like, for less than a control group of Mutalisks. Here comes the stim. The medics, that's a nice move from OctZerg, trying to go for the medics, but they're so tanky, and then just takes the engagement. Gonna get wiped. That's it. kogeT. First one out of the group.
Yep, nicely done from kogeT. The patented kogeT Wraith play, and the OctZerg 1-hatch Muta I think was interesting, but ended up not working out. I think versus somebody like SPX, that maybe would have been a little bit more successful, but the Wraith, I mean, he had 4 Wraiths when Mutas came out, so
yeah.
You can only build 3 Mutas at a time, right? So
that's the thing. It might seem like a good idea, like, oh, look at my Spire timing, it's really fast, but then you lose the first Overlord. That's 2 larvae already, because he needs to make an Overlord anyway, because he's at 17 of 25, plus the Mutalisk, he's what, like 20, 23, 25, 25, so he needs to make double Overlord off of 1 hatchery. I mean, sometimes it seems like larvae aren't a finite resource, but they are. I mean, it's not like Zerg has infinite. It's not like StarCraft 2. You have larva injector or whatever.
Yeah, it is the 4th resource. I think that certain Koreans have called it. But that is going to be kogeT moving out in first place of his group, as expected. He was obviously the clear favorite. And now we're going to be going into a quick break, but then we're going to get into Julia versus SPX and find out who's going to be eliminated from Group E. We are back with some more BSL12 action. We just saw kogeT, blast his way through Group E, getting out in first place. Now we're going to be going into the losers match. We're going to find out who's going to be eliminated. It's going to be between Julia and SPX. SPX not finding success versus OctZerg. But Julia, even though he lost the first game versus kogeT, actually recovered quite nicely after having such bad eco. So we'll see if he can find a victory here versus SPX, but it's of course going to be very difficult for him.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I don't know. Julia did seem pretty decent though in his game versus kogeT. I feel like, despite Julia played at such a disadvantage that whole game and nearly brought it back. So that's like a good indicator that he can play well here against SPX. So I feel like. And SPX looked a bit, he looked pretty dicey in his game versus OctZerg. So if anything, I think the pressure is a bit on SPX this game.
Yeah, I kind of agree about that. SPX, I think, he probably has a little bit of pressure on him. Now, something to mention about Julia is after the mutas, he went for that Hydra play, and Hydra Guardian is surprisingly strong. You don't face it on the ladder that often, but when you do, you scan it and you're like, what's this? I'm just gonna steamroll it. And then all of a sudden, upgraded Guardians that have 3 armor, they just don't die. And then the Hydra support too, it's kind of like Wraith Marine Medic combo that we just saw kogeT pull out. It is a very, very strong comp, and since Julia always opens Hydra, he obviously has practiced this quite a lot, and SPX is gonna have trouble facing it, I think. So we'll see if Julia can find success with it again, or if he's gonna opt into something like Hydra Lurker. Now, SPX, I was looking at chat earlier because I was talking about how we might see Goliath play, but everybody was saying that he's either a 1-1-1 or Wraith player, so I guess we shouldn't really expect to see mech from him.
Yeah, but then again, I mean, Power Bond, if you're going to go for, 1-1-1 on a map like this it's not the best because honestly, the rush distances, yeah.
Power Bond's not the elimination match. It's going to be Shakuris.
Oh, yeah, I forget. I don't know why I just listened to you. I already knew this. I was going to literally just say, I was thinking about saying this earlier. I'm like, oh, the map is going to be Shakuris, and that's a pretty good Terran map. But then you're like, Power Bond. I'm like, yeah, let's go into Power Bond.
Yeah, Shakuris is a pretty good map. This map I can't stand facing versus Protoss because Goonman just sits on the ledges and just trades.
I love this map versus Protoss.
Oh yeah? Well, the first time I played, the first couple times, it just felt like you...
Look at that win rate for Terran.
Win rate for Terran versus Protoss? Holy moly, it's way favored. I'm surprised at that.
Shakuris is actually probably the best TVP map in the pool that we've had in a long time. I think the spawn bank is close to 60% for Terran. It's like 58%.
Holy moly.
Yeah, no, you gotta work on that, dude.
I gotta work on it.
This map should be Freelo.
Freelo, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna have to load up some Sari and Rush VODs and YamTube. Check him out. See what I'm doing wrong.
But we're talking about TVP when there's no P.
Yeah, I know. Terran versus Zerg.
I mean, look at Terran versus Zerg 65.
I mean, that's 66%. Crazy.
Somebody the Shakuris is actually one of the best Terran maps ever.
Well, that's pretty good then, because Sylphid is way up there, and I knew it had like a 55% or 60% win rate, but we're seeing even higher win rates versus Zerg. That's actually crazy to me how high it is.
You know what's crazy? When the map first came out, I'm like, wow, this is gonna be pretty bad for Terran, right? You get that feeling, but
yeah,
the thing is, these types of maps where there's a very clearly defined middle, and then there's a lot of bases to the sides that you can continuously expand to. When Terran just has to think about, okay, I'm gonna expand and then shove my units into the middle, that's just dream world for Terran.
Well, we are ready, so we're going to be going into a TVZ between SPX and Julia. Remember, guys, this is best of 1, so loser here he's just out in a flash. So we'll see who's going to be eliminated and who's going to be winning the series to move on and face OctZerg in the Deciders match. In the bottom right, we have our Russian Terran player. It is SPX.
And in the top right, the Polish Zerg. It is Julia.
All right, well, let me ask you this. We've got vertical spawns. Does that dictate anything in your opener as a Terran player or a Zerg player?
Well, these rush distances are tiny. So that's definitely not good for Zerg.
Yeah, that is not good for Zerg.
The thing about these specific positions is that the Terran's natural is facing the Zerg. And if there's one abusable spot here in ZVT, it is the back natural. Because, like, just how it's set up, the turret placement isn't necessarily ideal. You have to commit a lot to it. And then even if you commit a lot to it, Zerg can just run past that into your main, like through that through the back natural. So that's the one thing that's pretty bad here for Terran. But besides that, I mean, the short distances are nice, and generally you can scout the Overlord right away if you go, oh, but SPX is scouting the wrong way. Yeah, you need to scout top right, because you can always intercept the Overlord at this spot.
Yeah, so a bit of a misstep there. SPX is most likely going to scout last. Now we see Julia going for that 12 hatch. I'm waiting to see if he's going to build any extra drones. The answer is no, so he's going to go 12, 11, and I wonder if we're going to have another fast gas from him or if we're going to have a third hatch coming in. Okay, there's the pool. Now, are we going to see an extractor follow-up? Yes, it is going to be 2 hatch again.
Yep. So Julia playing very standard. Hopefully he can avoid the kind of the disaster of last game where he suicided a bunch of lings in for no compensation. And if he can do that, if he can have a better early game, I feel like he might be in a really, really good spot here against SPX.
Well, Julia does see the racks and turns around instantly. Of course, Overlord is going to be spotted by the Marine. Marine doesn't move. Well, I guess I thought it wasn't going to move out, but regardless, the Overlord is not going to get caught. Meanwhile, SCV, actually he went for a double scout, so he ends up...
This Overlord is going to be really close.
Is it?
No, the second Marine isn't there yet. It's close, though.
Well, it was closer than I thought, but still, the Overlord is going to be safe. Now, SPX is obviously just going to expand behind this. He's going for that standard command center follow-up. In his main, of course, I'm keeping close attention to the refinery. Are we going to see a very fast Academy follow-up? Looks like the answer so far. No, he went
third depot. He needs to push now with the Marines. If he sits there and does not push with these Marines, he is so far behind. His Rax is going to be behind, his gas is behind, his Academy is behind. The one thing he has going for him is the non-stop Marine protection. He's going for gas, actually, so you know what this might be? It might be like one Rax Academy or something weird like that.
Yeah, I think that
he kind of has to at this point.
Yeah, that's going to be an Academy right there.
If this is an eBay.
If that's an eBay, he's insane.
Oh, no.
Okay, he's nuts. So he's going to have absolutely no units. He moves out with his Marines, as you were mentioned, but Lings are already taking out his command center. Guess he doesn't care about that because he's going to continue to move out. This is dangerous. Okay, yeah, he does turn around, but still, the Lings have done a good job to delay this command center.
The thing is, like, this eBay here, it's not really going to, like, SPX is going to be really safe because with that third depot, he is going to be able to make non-stop Marines. He's going to have a lot of Marines, so it's not like he gets all in here. But the problem with getting this late depot, or this late eBay, given the build that he's doing, is that his range is going to be so late. And this eBay is so late that +1's not even going to kick in that early. So it's just going to be kind of like a not ideal version of the +1 build. So anyway, Julia is getting in here. He is going to harass that command center. And the thing is, this command center was really late as well. Like, he put it down after 2 Marines. So just everything for Terran is just not in a good spot. But again, Julia is making a lot of Lings. This is exactly what we saw. I don't know, because that's a lot of Marines. I think Julia just needs to be really patient.
I would have gone there, and the reason is like, what opportunity are you waiting for? There's Marines, there's no medics. Like, Ling Muta doesn't trade the most effectively when it's critical mass Marines. I feel like that was his opportunity to dwindle down the Marine count a little bit. His Spire was about to finish also, and it wasn't like SPX was moving across the map, so I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. Of course, he would have lost all of his lings 100%. Meanwhile, now he just loses all his lings without killing anything, so that's a big misstep there. Even cancels the bunker, because SPX realizes he's not worried about potential ling muta attack now, but he does need to get his turrets up.
Yeah, the thing is, those lings did delay the mining yet again, like, significantly, and this sunken is gonna go up, though definitely doesn't need that creep colony. Mutalisks are, oh, but this is creep colony after the Mutalisk, so this is fine, actually. So Julia definitely, I mean, Julia's in a really good spot. And again, I mean, SPX nowhere near range upgrade. So these Mutalisks have, I mean, that's probably stim.
Yeah, it could be range, but it most likely is stim, especially since we see that he has 300 gas. So that means he does not have range yet. Those Mutalisks are not really firing, but he's still getting a couple of Marines there. He's delayed the turret in the back too. Meanwhile, he didn't lose a single Mutalisk, so that's great trades for Julia right now. He's starting to take top middle. That's not the most common base to take, so most likely SPX is going to scan top left, see nothing is there. It might overreact thinking he's being all in, and he's actually not.
Yeah, and just in general here, SPX's build is a bit delayed, still only on 2 racks, no factory going down 7 minutes in. Julia, on the other hand, is getting a 3rd base, is staying only on 5 Mutalisks, so most likely the drone count is going to be pretty high. Yeah, you can see he's been making non-stop drones probably, or he was he was supply blocked. Looks like maybe more Mutalisks are here at the, no, I'm not sure. Hydrodem does go down though, and I wonder if he's gonna go for the the same build he did against kogeT.
I actually think it's going to be the same thing.
The thing is, you would get your Queen's Nest first. That's what's weird.
Yeah, you would get your Queen's Nest. So maybe it's not going to be the same thing. Maybe it is just going to be really hard on the lurkers. A lot of players have been doing that these days. They go, you know, they build like 10 lurkers, combo it with Ling and Muta, and kind of just throw it at the Terran, try and bust them. So that's an opportunity that Julia could go for. Meanwhile, SPX is doing okay. He's got his Nat very well saturated, hasn't taken that much damage to his mineral line. He's got +1 weapon done.
His Queen's Nest is pretty late though, because honestly the Queen's Nest is kind of like,
I think he's all in.
Yeah, probably. Because the Queen's Nest is the counterpart to the factory. Like, it's basically like the Queen's Nest represents the same tech level as the factory does. And when the factory is done and the starport's coming and there's no Queen's Nest, like, you're in big trouble as Zerg. And not quite sure what Julia's doing. He's just making a bunch of Mutalisks, but it's delayed because he already, like, he's playing kind of this really aggro style, but after making a bunch of drones. So I think what you said earlier might be right now. I mean, maybe he's going to go for mass lurkers and just kind of contain the Terran, but it's going to be hard to kill Terran when this factory's already done. And I know SPX, he generally tends to go for the add-on on the factory. He doesn't go double starport, so he should be pretty safe against that kind of play.
Well, Julia is consistently building more and more Mutalisks. We didn't see any upgrade come in just yet for him, so I don't know if it just hasn't completed or if he clicked it at all. But he did have a slight supply lead. 3rd gas is now up and running for Julia, so that's going to be an influx of gas for him. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Starport was done, I think. So science facility, science vessels are going to start coming out pretty soon. The one thing that SPX doesn't have going for him is I noticed he only has 2 barracks. So actually, his Marine ball isn't that scary right now. There's the scan. He sees that, wow, there's no hive.
Yeah, I mean,
what are you actually doing?
Making.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, Zerg is still on 3 hatcheries. So, I mean, this is, if you're Terran, you're just so happy, man. Like, I would have had a banana grin here. I'm like, okay, I got double starport going. Now, this is the only scary part, and SPX has been, he's aware that Julia is super committed onto Mutalisks because he's still making turrets even in his main. So, and his army is in his base. He can respond to this attack. He sees how many Mutalisks there are. So now, I mean, SPX, all he has to do is, okay, I'm just going to sit on these 2 ports, make vessels, and win the game.
Well, this is a lot of Mutalisks. It's like 20 Mutalisks. You can see that there's almost an entire control group in the back. Oh, it is an entire control group, and he spots an isolated group of Marines and medics, and he jumps on it instantly. Now SPX is going to come in with the rest of his army. So SPX has to be careful here because he was not expecting it to be this many Mutalisks. Now, the first couple vessels have not popped out, and even if they have, they don't have the energy for Irradiate just yet, so Julia can continue to trade. But I did notice that 1-1 already done for the Terran, and there are the Hydras.
Yeah. I mean, with the thing is, when Terran has full economy and 5 racks going, Mutalisks, even if they trade against bio, like they're not really gonna get the work done really. And at this point, you need to be on 4 hatcheries or on hive tech as Zerg. So lurkers are gonna be finished before the push gets there. But already 2 vessels, and Irradiate's on top of the Mutalisk, gonna completely damage them. Ooh, that was sick, actually. I like how SPX held the second Irradiate, and Julia's just struggling to split his Mutalisks.
Well, Julia's dead because he only has Hydras. Oh, okay, he has Lurkers. Thank you for having Lurkers. I thought he was going straight into Hydras with speed and range, so the Lurkers are going to save the day for now, but lost almost all of his Mutalisks. Meanwhile, 4th hatch, 4th base is going up for Julia at the top left side of the map. It is very, very exposed. It could be instantly picked off. Even the 3rd base is exposed. So we'll see if SPX will move over to that direction. He is going to go over there. Oh, that is a lot of lurkers now. Oh, goodbye, Mutas.
Yeah, the thing is, these 4 vessels are just going to start generating infinite value. And honestly, when Zerg makes all these lurkers, the thing is, you know, Terran can't really break it anytime soon, and Defilers are probably going to be out, so Julia will be able to stabilize at some point, or at least play the game out into the late game. But when Zerg commits so heavily into lurkers, Ultralisks are never going to come. They're going to come so late. By the time Ultras are out, you're going to have a cloud vessel of like 6 or 8 vessels at this point. And that literally makes Ultralisks worthless because they just get irradiated, or the Defilers get irradiated, then you don't have Dark Swarm to support them. So this, I mean, the point I'm getting at is Julia can definitely play this out, but he's in a world of hurt.
Yeah, and also because SPX got away with the fast eBay, he's always going to be ahead in upgrades. Oh no, this is suicide if he moves up here. He is just going to back off and burrow those lurkers. Already 1 or 2 of the vessels had regenerated 75 energy, so he's just constantly irradiating these lurkers over and over and over. And I'm getting very worried for Julia. He does have double evolution chamber, but as you mentioned, I don't see Ultralisk Cavern anywhere. I don't see Defiler Mound anywhere. So for now, he's literally just bleeding lurkers over and over to these vessels. There's 8 vessels out already, and it's only 1330.
Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a slow descent. And finally, SPX is going to pull the trigger here. Only sees 3 lurkers plus his upgrade advantage. But, I mean, that's a lot of Zerg units, and, you know, SPX is going to lose a couple of vessels for that trade. He's going to lose his Bio Ball. Another Bio Ball is ready.
It opens up the Nat, though. Look at him. He just instantly is in position and stems for it. And this might be the killing move if he can get that Defiler. It's so low.
Yeah, but... Oh, the lurkers are not burrowing. Okay, finally they burrow. That's not too many.
Oh!
That was a 6 spine. And, I mean, still a decent amount of units left over, but here's the thing. I mean, honestly, okay, the Scourge go down. I was going to say, if Julia can, each time he takes an engagement here, if he can shred off some of the vessel count, it can slowly start going back into his favor. But SPX with the 3rd base now can even think of going into triple starport. We should be seeing, honestly, Battlecruisers coming. Doesn't even need it because he's just going to push in here and Julia GG's.
Oh, so SPX with really sick Marine medic play and vessel timing, and he just plows through Julia before Julia could get all of his tech up and running. As we mentioned, the Hive was a little slow. It ended up being the downfall for him. Just the Radiate for days, 8 vessels with no Defiler. I don't know how you actually deal with Terran when the vessel count is that absurdly high. You don't even have Dark Swarm, so bit of a misstep there from Julia. I really did like the Muta play. I liked his recovery versus kogeT, but SPX a little bit too strong in this particular game.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, kind of unfortunate there for Julia. Yeah, SPX is going to win that game. So he avoids elimination, and he is going to play OctZerg for the last spot out of this group. That's going to be an exciting match because, of course, it's a rematch here for SPX. So he is going to have the opportunity to redeem himself. And it's going to be on Shakuras again.
Yeah, and we were mentioning that Shakuras apparently is more broken than I imagined it to be. 66% win rate for Terran.
It's pretty good.
That might actually be the highest win rate.
Because the thing is, like, think about most maps TVZ. When Terran's moving around the middle of the map, like if you think about even Polypoid, at least Polypoid has those 4 ledges where you can have overlords on them. And for the most part, there's a lot of ledges for the Mutalisks to come in. But in the middle of the map, because it's all high ground, Terran doesn't care, and it's really easy for Zerg to lose track of your bio ball, and again, the rush distances between the adjacent bases is really short. So in general, I mean, like ZVT is kind of a headache on. It's just really hard on this map.
Yeah, so we'll see what OctZerg comes up with, because I don't think he's going to be able to get away with fast third base, fast fourth base that aren't like mains and naturals like he did on Polypoid. That's going to be really hard, and SPX looks pretty clean. Maybe he was just a little bit shaky in his first match, but he looked really solid versus Julia, so I think SPX is definitely going to have a much better chance this time. You know, actually, I wonder if OctZerg has something special planned now after we saw the Power Bomb game. Like, are we actually going to see one hatch lurker? Is that a real thing? Are we going to see one hatch muta again? Is he going to play something else weird? Yeah, I think it would be unlikely to risk it all on a deciding match like this, but I guess it is possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sick that he whipped that build out, though. I kind of respect it, but I feel like it was maybe giving a bit too much respect to his opponent. I think maybe he was like, oh, I'm playing kogeT, there's no way I can win versus him or something, but so I need to pull out something really crazy. I think versus SPX, he's going to feel a bit more confident, especially given the first game that they played, because, I mean, he won it, and he played standard. So I wouldn't be surprised. I actually would expect OctZerg to just play standard here against SPX.
Yes, so I think the players are ready. So let's find out who's going to be moving on into the round of 16. Is it going to be SPX or is it going to be OctZerg? All right. In the blue, coming off a nice solid victory versus Julia, it is SPX.
And in the bottom left, it is OctZerg.
Yeah, so I actually don't think we're going to see anything crazy from OctZerg. I agree with your assessment here. I would be surprised if we see any type of one hatch play, any type of, aggressive opener. There is a gap at the natural, like Sylphid, so there is opportunity for the Ling run by. Actually, last game, Julia had some really nice control with his Lings. He picked off a couple of turrets that snuck into the natural, and it gave him access into the natural with his Mutalisk, but he wasn't able to abuse it. We know that OctZerg has great Ling control. So that might be another move that a similar move that he could use versus SPX here and try and abuse the Mutalisk in the natural, as you mentioned last game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, SPX, across these games that he's played today, has had kind of a shaky start versus Zerg and has had problems with the early Lings from both players. So, but as Zerg, it's not necessarily like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do a specific Ling build here. I'm gonna mass Ling or something. I feel like it's more, it's more of the onus is more on Terran to just execute that early game a bit more flawlessly. But probably OctZerg, if he watched the last game and his game, might be more inclined to make a couple more Lings than usual. SPX this time around is gonna scout top right. Unfortunately, as opposed to the last game, it looks like he's going to have to last scout both games here. And last game, it kind of really bit him in the butt because his command center was pretty delayed, and then he didn't really have much compensation for it because he didn't put on too much pressure with his early Marines.
Well, even with the delayed command center, he transitioned it into a victory, and okay. He doesn't cross scout this time, so I was going to be very surprised if he did that again. We do see that OctZerg is going for 2 hatch this time. He's got his extractor going up in his main, so everything looks very normal. Like everybody sees on the ladder. Oh, actually, this was a double scout. Yeah, he didn't cross scout last game. He just sent out a double scout. This is exactly what you should do if you're Terran. If you don't know where they are, send out a double scout. You don't want to be putting down that command center. Then, oh, look, links are just happen to come in right when you put it down. You're going to have to cancel it instantly. So nice move from SPX. Again, in his main, no delayed gas. What happened?
He doesn't have a command center.
Yeah, he is building a 3rd Marine. That is a little unusual.
4th Marine too. This is really delaying the command center.
Yeah, it looked like he just didn't want to send another SCV to the NAT, so he waited for that SCV to come back. Now his command center is finally going to go down, but he does get continuous Marine production like this. SCV is still alive, and I'm getting a little worried for OctZerg because if these Marines move out, 4 Marines do 2-shot lings, and that will be very hard to deal with. Also, people don't move out with just 4 Marines. So OctZerg might be thinking, okay, I've got a little bit of extra time, but actually he doesn't. OctZerg has an Overlord in position. Will it see it?
I mean, this is... That's so funny. SPX actually just assumed that Zerg would have vision, I think, outside of his natural. But he's keeping the Marines here.
Okay, well, you can't lose any lings, because if they die, yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. He instantly moves out.
Yeah, but SPX is committed, and the thing is, link speed is about to finish, and this is too late. You can't go this late. 5 Marines is way too late. The Marines are all going to die, and because SPX, because of his build, his 2nd Rax is delayed, and all of a sudden, this is a disastrous spot yet again to be in as Terran. The thing... Dude, Dan, I mean, when you do this push as Terran, you cannot go later than 3 Marines. 3 Marines, your first 3 Marines are what can pressure Zerg, especially against 2-hatch, because once you're talking about 4 Marines, 5 Marines, now in this game, he got 4 Marines because he delayed his command center. But once you get to like 4 or 5 Marines, link speed kicks in, and that's generally when Zerg gets more lings anyway. Oh, he went eBay too. Disaster.
Okay, his academy is... No, he didn't even...
Oh, no, he didn't. Okay, I thought it was an eBay, sorry, but his academy is late.
Yeah, it's an academy. It's a 430 academy. Oh my god, that is an amazing save to not take any damage from those lings. That's what he needed. Meanwhile, as we said, there's no eBay. Academy just started. Stim hasn't even started and the Spire's done. That means range is going to start at like 6:30. That means that mutas are going to have a field day for about 1.5 minutes because they don't have to deal with anything. 3rd hatch already going up for OctZerg, again at a close base, so he's going to get that up and running quite quickly. SV comes in, doesn't see anything abnormal.
Dude, SPX is just going, but he doesn't even have medics with this. He doesn't have stim. These mutalists are just going to completely smack this down. He doesn't have medics or stim,
He doesn't have an eBay, man. He doesn't have an eBay. He's moving out because he's trying to buy time. The funny part is that the SCV is going to get taken down. He's going to see that the mutalists move out.
Oh, he's nuts!
Why does he know? How does he know? I have no idea why that mutalist went up there.
How does he know?
I don't want to say it's a game-saving move, but it's a game-changing move. He's going to get all of these Marines.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, maybe there's one... I mean, Zerg just runs straight to the Terran's base, and then the Marines come in and kill a couple of drones at the natural, but... yeah, now this game's like just... I mean, the thing is, though, OctZerg was honestly in kind of a... I mean, this is even a bigger advantage than he had in the first game between the two of them, but he almost lost that one game, so anything's possible, but this is the type of... you're playing this on the ladder, I'm already out of the game, dude.
Yeah, I would have been out of the game as soon as I built a 430 academy. I'm like, all right. I'm just not going to kill anything the entire game, but we'll see if SPX can actually pull out a victory here. He is really far behind right now. He does have good SCV saturation, though, so his econ's going to be pretty good. I'm trying to see if he's gotten a factory anywhere. Has not started. Of course, 730 factory would still be okay, but 3rd base up and running for OctZerg, 3rd gas up and running for OctZerg. That's fantastic. Oh no, no turret in the bottom side
Ooh.
of the mineral line. He's going to kill so many SCVs here.
Well, he's not actually killing the SCVs though. He's just, yeah, not the best bounces, but it does pull them off of the mineral patches, and that's a lot of turrets at the natural.
SPX still doesn't have range, by the way. It's impossible to have range. Yeah, it's still being upgraded.
Yeah.
So, actually, the Marines weren't as scary as they actually looked, despite kind of getting cornered off.
Queen's Nest.
Evolution Chamber at the natural. So, again, it's going to be +1 rush for Zerg. Hive going up. So, it's going to be, again, Ultra Play, just like what we saw in Game 1. Again, a repeat of what we just saw coming into the mineral line.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, OctZerg is playing really well, but now he's going to get a lot of his mules stuck or whatever, killed. I'm surprised that he went for that move yet again without a whole control group of mulists, but it looks like OctZerg, I don't know if he got supply blocked or what. Looks like I mean, I think it just takes a while for Zerg to drone up here, but he does have a lot of drones at the third base. Yeah, okay, so the thing is, these Mulists might have ended the game had he committed to just Mulist production, but this is good too. I would say, you know, once you get this much saturation of Zerg, you definitely want to put down a 4th hatchery as well, so keep an eye out for that. But Hive is going to be coming in really, really fast. SPX does have a machine shop though, so he is going to go for the tank push. I think he knows kind of what's up, probably has scanned the main. OctZerg going in, killing that one turret, leaving.
Yeah, Science Facility and Starport should be going down, or should be completing pretty soon. Meanwhile, the mute count is not scary. It's only at 7. If SPX realized this and ever got even slightly critical math, oh my god, the bounces are amazing. Actually, mutas are doing more damage than I thought. Remember, they have +1 weapon, so they are super deadly. Now, 9 mulas. Again, going in and out of vision is so annoying for the Terran player to deal with these mutalists. Those mutas are heavily damaged though. He needs to be careful.
Yeah, but this is the one spot where mulists are good, but now finally SPX does have the high ground, and at this point there's not optimal engagements for the mulist. It's always going to be kind of in vision, in open field. But I mean, he did kill a lot of the units there from the Terran. 4th hatchery there coming up, and you know, OctZerg, see, this is what I was trying to tell you, Dan, last season, is that OctZerg back in the day, famous for Ling all-inning Idra over and over and over again, and kind of a bit of a meme, but he has been playing like really solid StarCraft ever since, and you know, it's not bad. I mean, look at that control there. He is killing a lot of the Marines off, and he has this nice macro game going. He has a nice kind of pool of resources. He's going to be able to make a lot of ultras, and here comes the Ling Mulas engagement.
Yeah, and he's able to clean up the army before SPX can combo it with the rest of the army. So that's another ball just instantly gone. And greater Spire, actually. So I guess OctZerg, if he was a little bit nervous about stopping the push, he was going to morph a couple Guardians. This is what I actually love to see. I don't know, though. Zerg player. You don't like this? I love when Zerg just builds like 3 or 4 Mutalisks and just forces you to blow your Irradiate at the natural.
Yeah, but this Ultra's Cavern is so late, and he lost so many Mutalisks. He has to rebuild a bunch of Mutalisks. I mean, the thing is, he's so far ahead, it doesn't really matter what he does. Yeah, it doesn't matter what he does. I mean, Terran's still on 3 racks. But that was kind of weird.
Wow, he's going to morph all of the Guardians, and none of them at the natural.
I mean, this is going to win the game, though.
Yeah, there's no... Like, how do you engage it? I don't think he... Okay, he scanned the Greater Spire now, so he at least knows that it is complete.
These are late. Okay, if these are vessels, the game's over.
Well, we just saw the first vessel pop out, and I think those are vessels, too.
The thing is, like, against Guardians at this timing, before you have... I mean, even 4 vessels kind of don't cut it. Irradiate is just not that good. Like, it kills 1 Guardian, then... That's it.
That Rax is that's gone. That's a dead rack. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So SPX is actually gonna just move out and try and go for a counterattack, but he doesn't even have that many units. I think like Pure Ling would even kill that. We know that Ultras will obviously kill that. +1 is already done for the Zerg player. Even upgrades, obviously a very good situation for the Zerg at that point. Meanwhile, OctZerg has so much econ, he's expanding to mid left and top left at the same time. And there is that push for SPX, but he has to win the game with this push.
Yeah, he does. But, I mean, these Lings are just going to kill it. And the Guardians are killing the main base. And you can see this is why Vessels are just not good versus Guardians.
He just taps out before the fight even happens. And it's going to be OctZerg making it out of the group in second place. He looked pretty good all day long. Took out SPX both times, actually, to make it into the round of 16. But nicely done from OctZerg. And unfortunately, SPX, somebody who always makes it into BSL, he's just already gone, man.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, much respect to SPX, because again, like you've said so many times today, he is a mainstay, kind of a staple player in the BSL, and always has, you know, shows good games and good skill. But honestly, OctZerg has just been playing so much, and he's been, you know, as far as I know, he like practices a lot. And, you know, even last season in the qualifier, in the latter stage, and this season, he just plays so many games and gets high rated. And you saw there, again, he just played very standard against SPX and was clearly outplaying him. So OctZerg has kind of raised his skill level, and now he's being rewarded for it, especially after his bomb bout last season. So I'm pretty excited to see him go through here.
Yeah, he looked pretty good, and he had good econ the whole way. It wasn't like he was super all in with his Mutalisk. I like that when people actually, you know, go for the macro game. They've got good econ, they balance their drone count, they do everything. And then he showed that, hey, I can mix it up too. Even though he didn't get a victory on Power Bond, it is cool to see that he has something like 1/2 Muta in his arsenal. So I am looking forward to his round of 16 games. But that is going to be the end of Group E. So we finished that quite quickly, but we're going to go into a quick break, and then we're going to get into Group A, and we're going to see the return of our superstar Zeke and also an old school player, Kenzie. We'll see how far he can go. And then also, we're going to see if Tim can make a splash here. So don't go anywhere.